It's almost too easy getting that opening scene for a horror movie to suck in the audience, establishing some nightmare scenario, setting up a major supernatural mystery of missing persons and bloody corpses. But nailing that ending is an entirely different ballgame, and more often than not, that ball is dropped. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 worst horror movie endings. Number 1, The Devil Inside. Just gonna come right out and say it. Who ends a movie with a link to a defunct website to find out the actual ending? Like, even in the realm of unique ideas to interact with your audiences, the producers had to have known that in order to make this work with their film, they would either A, have to continuously pay for the website until the end of time in order for people to be able to visit it, or B, lobby Congress to make all web spaces free. They didn't even film an epilogue style ending or anything that could include on home video release or streaming in case the website ever went down, which it did. So what the entire fuck? The movie itself was okay, another religious exorcist style films in a long line of found footage films that doesn't really stand out in any way. But to have the film just abruptly cut to black with a message saying, if you want to know how it ends, go visit this website, just puts this film all the way at the bottom of that list. If you want to experience true agony, head over to Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango to check it out. Number 2, Open House. So the villain in this abysmal Netflix offering is named the Evil Boots. Let that sink in. I know in real life over the years, the names of some of these serial killers haven't always been particularly creative or anything. But this just sounds like some 12-year-old campfire tale villain. Anyways, the premise is very easy to follow. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience, you might say, even. And yet it lacks all tension and creativity they could have done with it. A kid loses his dad, and so he and his mother move into her sister's second home until it sells. Hence the title, Open House. They got a cocky old bird of a neighbor named Martha and the town's one-stop store clerk named Chris. Through the film, they have a few spooky moments where someone has been inside the house and little things are broken or go missing. Yet when they tell the cops, they can't really do anything because the house is for sale and being shown to people, so there's too much traffic which would dilute any evidence. We all know where this is going though. A big showdown with whatever spectral force is haunting them, right? Wrong. This is when we do finally learn what's been going on, and that it's some killer that's been dubbed Evil Boots. And of course, he breaks in and captures them and begins his torture. Now, normally the film would end with the family overpowering him and the cops coming last minute to save the day. So I do applaud them for thinking ahead and making the killer get away with it. But the execution of all that is so poor and filled with moments of stupidity that it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. It's not the gut punch ending of films like Seven, but rather the quizzical expression melting over your face after you go, wait, what? And feel disappointed. Don't believe me? Head on over to Netflix to check it out for yourself. Number 3, High Tension. The entire film is this intense survival slasher film filled with brilliant acting and some truly impressive gore. And all of that is undone shortly before the credits roll, when, spoiler alert, Maria is revealed to have been the killer all along. Now that in and of itself isn't a terrible idea. After all, Saw did something similar with having the corpse in the middle of the room be the killer, who constructed the game just pretending to be dead the entire time. And it's a reveal that blew audiences' minds. But at least that one makes sense. In High Tension, there are numerous moments where there's no possible way for her to have been the killer. And if the idea is to paint her as an unreliable narrator, then there's no indication that anyone actually died. Or, well, long story short, the entire film unravels and falls apart. High Tension was part of the French extremity wave that sadly petered out once Hollywood started taking those films and producing their own almost shot-for-shot remakes and going full in on the torture porn genre. Which, by the way, there is actual torture porn out there, so be careful when Googling that. Anyway, it had potential, and the acting is actually very good. It just, unfortunately, has one of the shittiest twist reveals that break that suspension of disbelief. You can see it for yourself over on Prime or Apple TV. Number 4, The Happening. Mother Nature can be a powerful enemy. Tornadoes, mudslides, volcanoes, earthquakes. All of them have great potential for horrifying disaster flicks. So what the fuck, M. Night? Tree pheromones? Seriously? Not only is that the most ridiculous reveal ever, but the characters are so unnatural and have absolutely no chemistry with one another. It's astounding. You've got a confused Mark Wahlberg and dumber than usual Zooey Deschanel at the forefront. And somehow, the best actor in this film is John Leguizamo, which is saying a lot. Like, the beginning of the film, if you ignore the acting and the two main leads, is actually quite spooky and reminded me a lot of another film, a little Japanese horror title named Pulse, where people begin to mysteriously end their own lives in horrific ways. But it quickly devolves into this, is this supposed to be a horror comedy territory? When we get scenes like Zoe and Mark having an awkward, bumbling argument, or watching him talk to a potted plant. Personally, I would give this film a hard pass, as on par it's about as awful as The Lady in Water. But if you're just that curious, you can check it out over on Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango. Number 5, Truth or Dare. Much like another film that could have easily filled this slot, the idea of passing on a deadly curse by filming it on YouTube and sharing it with the entire world probably set up some crazy idea for a sequel. Yet neither Truth or Dare or Rings got one, and so it ended up not only being a shit ending, but a pointless one. At the time, YouTube was at the height of its use, crushing the competition of other sites like Dailymotion and Vine. So they wanted to capitalize of that generation by making a creepypasta-style ending that hopefully would set the comment sections and forums ablaze. And then it took 4 years to develop and make the film, missing the mark and utterly crashing and burning. So what else can you say about this film? Essentially, it's a night out with some drunk friends where they meet a stranger and, as adults, decide to play Truth or Dare. While you may still do this with close friends, who the fuck does this with random strangers anymore, especially over the age of 25? Well, of course, there's a demon at the center of this game, and once you play, you can't stop playing. I'll give it to the creators. The premise could have been fun if done correctly. Unfortunately, that is not the case with this film, as most of the effects are basically just Snapchat filters, and any interesting death scenes are cut away from to keep that PG-13 rating. And again, that whammy of an incredibly stupid ending. If you absolutely have to see this film, head over to Prime or Fandango to check it out.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope that you're enjoying all of our content. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to ring that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you want to support us even further, there are numerous ways. First, check out fatninja.shop, our very own merch store where we sell t-shirts, hoodies, hats, shoes, and more, featuring our logo and other designs. You can also join our Patreon, linked in the video description. Last but not least, we have officially launched the YouTube membership program. At only $4.99 a month, you'll get access to our monthly newsletter featuring reviews, previews, and exclusive behind-the-scenes information about our upcoming projects and videos. You also get a nifty little badge and special emojis that you can use during our upcoming live stream chats. And if you're a member of our Discord channel, you'll get access to a special role which gives you even better access to the Fat Ninja staff and the chance to enter a monthly prize drawing as well as a shout out at the end of our videos. The prize drawings will only begin once we have reached our goal of 50 members. Finally, you'll also be gifted a special coupon code good for 20% off any item from our store. We appreciate each and every one of you and are incredibly thankful for your support. Each new subscriber and member helps us achieve our goals and keeps us motivated to create new content each week. Thanks again. Take care.
Number 6, Halloween Ends. Strictly speaking, Michael Myers getting dismembered in a wood chipper is pretty cool. However, the rest of everything that happens in the ending is not only an insult to the franchise, but also the audience. Originally, the director and screenwriter had different plans for their new trilogy. At the end of Halloween Kills, the idea was that Michael actually died of his wounds from the beating he took by the town, and that evil that was inside him would then infect Laurie, who then would be revealed from the shadows after her daughter's stabbed to death, like she was caught in some trance of bloodlust. Then with the final installment, the entire film would be Laurie thinking Michael is still alive and attacking him whenever she sees him and whatnot, only to be revealed she was killing innocents and such, finally culminating with her own daughter having to put her down. Well, that sounds crazy, and I have no idea how that would have looked. I can for sure say that option B, the Corey Cunningham storyline, was not a good replacement. From a technical standpoint, outside of the opening scene of the film, which was really well executed, his performance throughout the rest of the film was awful, awkward, and unconvincing. The story was badly placed, with little or no attention, and it felt stupid. Like a horror version of a Jimmy Olsen story as he follows Superman around wishing he could be just like him. Maybe they were trying to say something about celebrity worship. I don't know. Regardless, it tanked the film and put a nail in the Halloween franchise, at least for the foreseeable future. If you saw the other 2 reboots, however, you might as well finish this out. So head over to Starz, Hulu, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango to check it out. Number 7, Scream 3. The worst film in the franchise, along with the most recent 7th installment. It's really only beloved by truly diehard fans, but the concept behind the film is actually pretty solid. I mean, in the Scream universe, you have the stab movies, which are Hollywood versions of quote-unquote real events, and then murders that mimic those quote-unquote real events start happening on the set of the film. It's like if we filmed a movie about BTK and then someone started actually strangling all the actresses. And the reveal that it was someone working in the production, the director even, isn't all that bad. No, what totally deflates this movie is that it's revealed he is Sid's long-lost half-brother from some bastardized Hollywood party where she gave it up to get the role for herself. Not only does this kind of change the whole relationship between Sid and her dead mother in a very negative way, after all, she didn't want to believe her mother had an affair with a married man, and all that, which is what started this whole series. But it also kind of victim blames her, and then on top of everything, you want me to believe that in, 30-something years he waited to do this setup to kill Sid, when he could have just stabbed her at any point? Just no. It's dumb. The film falls completely apart, and everything in it should be stricken from the canon. However, if you must see it, head over to Prime, Paramount Plus, or Apple TV. Number 8, Signs. M. Night strikes again with another so dumb that can't be the reveal endings, by having aliens invade a planet that is over 70% water, with water literally being in the air, and being allergic to it? Way to fucking go. When the trailers first dropped for this film, and yeah, shut up, I'm old, I remember feeling excited and creeped out at the same time. After all, The Sixth Sense was a phenomenal horror film that scared me, and Unbreakable was okay, if not at least interesting. So M. Night was still on the rise at this point in his career. Crop circles were a huge thing for alien documentary style shows that were just becoming a big thing on the History Channel. And Mel Gibson was killing it in the box office. Then when the film came out, I was left feeling like, where did that scary movie go? And why did I just sit through 2 hours of awkward people being awkward while aliens get killed by a glass of water? I mean, the dialogue is so weird. Outside of Joaquin Phoenix, everyone felt extremely off, especially those kids. The aliens themselves weren't too creative looking either, and only 2 scenes really stand out from the film. The one with the alien in Mexico popping out of some bushes, and the scene where Mel stabs it in the hand when he's locked in this closet. They never quite explain anything. We don't see any ships or how they even arrive, even after the world is aware of them. I was expecting either a Halloween-esque stalked by an alien type film or a full-on M. Night version of War of the Worlds. And all I got was a clunky metaphor for why faith is important and comes in many forms, which The Exorcist has already done masterfully, and we need to stop making this a theme. But head over to Disney Plus, Apple TV, or Prime to check it out. Number 9, Men. I hate this film. Just gonna come right out and say it. This film not only bores me to tears, I feel like it undercuts the very message it's trying to say. While films like Irreversible might be extreme and traumatic for many viewers out there, it gives us a heightened yet still realistic portrayal of the dangers of toxic masculinity in a male-dominated society, and how women are often afraid to go anywhere alone because of the endless possibilities of horrendous shit that can happen to them from running into a random man. This film, however, is just a bunch of nonsense. Like, I get the metaphor, the whole birthing thing is a symbol of how toxicity breeds, especially amongst a group, and that while might be all separate individuals, they all quote-unquote look alike, because underneath it all, they are all the same violent, creepy, toxic chads. But I gotta say, this film feels more like 120 minutes of male bashing than it does a cautionary horror tale about how toxic masculinity is an infectious and dangerous social disease. But yeah, that ending tops it all off, where her late husband is birthed out of a series of disturbing scenes, and she finally asks what it is he wants from her. He simply replies, "Your love," as if that is the singular factor of why men do these terrible things. I really do think Alex Garland has potential. Annihilation was such a great film, but between this and his most recent effort, Civil War, the man often goes too far off on a tangent trying to explore a particular idea that the film becomes a jumbled mess with no clear message or theme. Characters become bland, cardboard stand-ins to deliver arbitrary exposition, and in the end, we learn nothing we didn't already know. I recommend skipping this film entirely, but if you can't help yourself, check it out over on Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango. Number 10, Sunshine. I want to preface this by saying I love this film, up until the ending. The entire film is a tight psychological exploration of the human mind on the brink of humanity's end. Basically, the sun is dying, and so a crew of astro engineers must fly a special ship designed to set off several explosions and get that sun burning hot again to keep the Earth from going into a permanent ice age. When something goes wrong with the ship and the crew must decide to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, we really explore what that means to different people of different cultures and beliefs. And then it turns into a generic slasher flick for no reason. Why? I love Danny Boyle. I think he has a truly unique eye for character-centric style storytelling, and I don't blame him for this disastrous ending because it was the studio who pushed for it. Something Boyle has had trouble with before, where his own version was edited to fit some studio audience tested BS. I swear, whenever I hear that phrase, test audiences, they must choose the dumbest fucking people on the planet who still think that the killer reveal on the latest CSI and Order episode is a surprise, because they always end up choosing the most generic ass ending with no theme or substance to it. I wish studios would just let directors do their thing, because that excuse of, well, it's a gamble, is bullshit. Because when you choose one of those safe endings, your film often still ends up bombing. So why not take the risk for it to be a huge hit? History shows that 1 out of every 3 films that give directors full control end up being huge successes. Maybe not in the box office right away, but over time, cult classics and whatnot. 1 out of every 15 studio meddled films end up being any good and manage to live on beyond the month it's released in. Anyway, I digress. You can check this film out for yourself over on Disney+, Hulu, Apple TV, or Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.